Welcome back to Tidarium Hangout. This is Mike, and I'm coming at you with yet another video. This time I want to talk to you about there is no bad third-party company. And this topic was actually one of my 4 videos I was going to make during my series of Takara versus third-party. And the reason I didn't is because in the comment section, so many people were so deep into the price. And I have to admit, like, I can't deny, price is near and dear to me. That's probably the biggest issue for buying Masterpiece Transformers. And whether you get the next version that comes out, or whether somebody waits for fans toys because they don't want to waste that money, they want to save that money towards a fans toys release or something like that. So anyway, in this video I'm going to get into talking about some of the lesser known companies. I'm not going to talk about the fans toys, the MMCs, the unique toys, the ones that we all consider good, X-Transbots, all of those, but I will be talking about them in comparison to, in competition with, and all those great things. So I'm going to go ahead and save the worst 2 companies to the end and tell you why they're not bad companies. Why they were good. And put your 2 worst in the comment section, see if it matches my 2 worst. Let's have a little bit of fun this weekend. And also, see if it matches. I'll give you my explanation at the end. You'll find out the 2 worst companies in all of third party, in my opinion. But before we get into all this, let's remember to, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. A lot of great content, nearly daily. I'm really trying to get to daily content going up. And also with that, I do want you to please press a like on it. If you like these kinds of videos, it means more of these videos come. I have other types of videos I'm going to be putting out, and I'm going to be, I would say, testing the waters with the things I've been wanting to do. And with this video specifically, I've been wanting to tie that loose end up. Because in my mind, this has been a loose end that I just kind of bumped it to the side, made a price video because the price was so much more important in my opinion. So let's get into this. So we're going to start with these companies that are not bad. We're going to start with BADCUBE. BADCUBE is not a bad company, but they have a challenging reputation due to the fact that they have so many releases, such as War Dog, that are really tough to transform. I don't really think it was hard to transform to robot mode and put it on my shelf. I missed one small point. Anyhow, challenging transformations. Some of the designs don't look that great. Some of them look amazing. I would say their Huffer, awesome, outstanding. Their Gears is the best Gears on the market. I think it can get beat, but it will be hard. It will be hard to beat Gears. Gears looks amazing. Also, I like the, what is it? They made this old-time series, Recon Steamroll, Red Alert, and Sideswipe. Those are good ones, and their Sun Surge was great in its day. Nowadays, all of their top-tier items are sold out pretty much everywhere. It's hard to get their bugs. It's hard to get the Brawny, which I don't think the Brawny looks that great. In fact, I got rid of mine. It's hard to even get their version, the Lori, the Hoist. So they've done some good things, even though they have a bit of a negative reputation for a few reasons. And some of their designs don't look the best, but some of them do. So let me talk to you a little bit about another company that I think in one way is a one-up to BADCUBE for some of their designs, and that would be Final Victory. Now, Final Victory got a lot of negative press and a lot of negativity when it came out. Before it even came out. And when it came out, it was like, well, these aren't that bad, but they're not fans toys. And that's true, they're not fans toys, and people are waiting for the fans toys releases. But these fill a slot better on your shelf than any of the other ones on the market right now, except for the Huffer. So BADCUBE still beats them with the Huffer, I think. But their Huffer's bigger, taller, and if you can get used to the wheels on the sides, you're okay. Their Brawny looks so much more cartoon accurate than their Brawn than Brawny. Their Warhog, whatever there is a Warpath, I think looks cleaner, and I like a clean bot. Looks cleaner and more cartoon-ish than War Dog. Although War Dog's bigger and much more menacing looking, I kind of prefer that one to it. And I predicted these would sell out by June. They're probably going to be sold out by the end of May. I'll probably be pretty close in my prediction that the Final Victories will be sold out by June. So if you haven't got the Final Victory stuff, you should get on it now. With Final Victory, I would like to see them do another release. Well, they could stay in the lane with the mini bots and just keep giving us more mini bots that we don't have or don't look that great, and that would be awesome. Stay in that lane. That would be great. I think where Final Victory really went wrong though was putting it in a 3-pack and making you buy all 3. They would have made more money if they packaged them individually and sold them for $50 each. That would be $150 a set or whatever. That would have been a much better offer and a much better deal, and more people would have bought one $50 figure instead of buying the whole thing for like $120 or $130 for the whole set. So next, I want to talk about another company, and this is IGEAR. So the thing about IGEAR is that they were a big player for a long time, and you know, a lot of people look back on IGEAR, and if you're getting into the game now, let's say you're just starting into collecting, and you look at IGEAR stuff. You see it getting clearanced out. It's on sale everywhere. If you see an IGEAR figure, it's when it used to sell for what, maybe $60, $80, $100, and now you get them for $20 or $30. And even they had the first cone heads, and the worst cone heads in my opinion. But this company was the first to do these figures. They were the first to do these mini bots. Although they definitely didn't scale Masterpiece, I don't know if they meant for them to be Chug or what. And I really think that they were in that Chug lane. Third party didn't go Masterpiece for some time, so they probably were stuck in that third party lane. But it really gave you an insight into what a third party company could do. And with IGEAR and some of the stuff they have still great. Their Delicate Warrior was riddled with a horrible QC nightmare. Wheels just fell off. My wheel fell off of my green one. I just wanted one of each company to see what they were like. And they were selling for $115. Of course, I got mine for $40 on a clearance sale. But, you know, it was a good figure. Aesthetically, it looked good. But hard to transform without breaking. And hard to just pose and keep on your shelf. It kept falling off my shelf and taking a shelf dive and lost the wheel. So, you know, just some of the quality wasn't there on all their items, but in the end, they were the first. They broke the ground. They were the first, even before Takara came out with their Ratchet and Ironhide. They had a Ratchet and Ironhide. So speaking of old companies, next one I want to talk about to you is the Impossible Toys. So Impossible Toys, I think, left the biggest mark of any third-party company that no longer exists, no longer continues to produce. And I think people that were part of Impossible Toys just went to work with someone else. I don't think they're truly gone, but I don't have any facts. So that's just my opinion. But they made all kinds of great figures that people are still after today. To this date, they have the best looking set of Quintessons. To me, the only Quintessons that are worth putting on a Masterpiece shelf, in my opinion. There's that $13 piece of junk floating around. I have a couple of those myself, and people put those for stand-ins till X Transbots comes out with theirs. But at the rate it's going, that Dr. X probably going to be a 2025 release. They made a lot of things that were not made by anybody else, and just like the exosuits, just like their Impossible Toys Alicon. And that was cool. And the Alicon's more like a G1 version of if we had that when we were G1. They never made it in G1, so to me it's like it fills a void that makes a whole lot of sense. And people are still after these items every day. Like, people are trying to get these figures all of the time. And I don't understand how a decade's gone by and nobody's made these. I don't understand how nobody's KO'd these. It doesn't make any sense to me. These are some really good figures. They also made a Bumblebee mold and some Tetrajets that they just made all kinds of different colors and stuff that just really didn't make sense. They had an Alpha Trion, but I thought it was way undersized. Way undersized. And they did a few other things, went in a different route. But they were a good company, in my opinion. A lot of people really hated their transformations. Some people say they're bad QC. Well, I think they were a good company, not bad. Next company I want to talk about is this Ace Toys, and they came out with the first true competitor in the Cliff Jumper race. The Cliff Jumper they made looked good. They put a lot of work into it. They put their heart and soul into Cliff Jumper. And the packaging was just amazing. Like, they They were packaged it like it was gold, like they were selling you a piece of gold. And I think that if they would have embraced the mentality of a faux chest, if they would have gone penny racer with it, they would have been the best. The feet were a bit big for me, meaning that the penny racer front end would have made better feet. If they would have, even the penny racer top, the chest would have already been good. They could have gone penny racer and done it. I know that's what Impossible Toys did, but that big old chest and then the long feet really is what lost it. Shorter arms too. I mean, they could have lengthened the arms. A few things they could have done. They would have had a cliff jumper that these other companies weren't beating because it was sleek, it was slim, it had a good transformation. Or a faux chest would have fixed that. Now, the thing is that they didn't sell as well as they liked, so they didn't make their sea spray. And their sea spray wasn't bad, but I mean, we kind of have too many sea sprays already. But it would have been nice to have another option of sea spray. I would have bought it probably. I can't guarantee, I don't know how much would have come out of it. But it would have been full die cast, it would have been heavy, metal, and all that great stuff. I want to talk about KFC real fast. KFC really was on the market because of their transistor, which is a blaster, and to this day is the only third-party Masterpiece blaster you can get. There's no official blaster, it's the only blaster out there. He's good, he's solid, I think he's beatable. They could beat him. Right now they've given us the best one. Now I like the chrome, whatever you want to call the chrome metallic red look versus the one that looks like you just bought the G1 toy that was redesigned. I'm more for the shiny. I like that, looking like you kind of walked off the screen with the shininess. I don't know if the red looks more like cartoon accurate. I don't know. But anyway, that figure was good, but the tapes, they get a lot of, well, we get a lot of negative feedback on the tapes because, well, first off, I broke my Rhino one. I had a pink one and a ram horn, and it broke on me the right away. And then they're just kind of flimsy and they don't look the greatest, but they don't look bad. I gotta say, they're the best blaster tapes out there because the only ones, and they're not horrible. The other thing is they made an amazing rec guard. Like, I don't know, it's gonna be hard to beat that rec guard. Now the transformation is a pain. Now I know that KFC is tied to X-Transbots, and I am a huge X-Transbots fan. I don't feel like I'm a huge KFC fan. I know they had some issues with their DACA and stability, but he still looks better. He's the best looking version of Blitzwing till we get the Fans Toys one, if we get the Fans Toys one. And then they're known for their hands. They made these KFC hands, which still aren't the best hands out there. I think I've seen them done on other companies better, including Fans Toys, but they're not a bad company because they've got a lot of great releases and they've got their name out there on a lot of great things. And also, the KFC has their own tapes, the Octoclones. I know there's a lot of people that like that one and prefer that one to some of the other ones. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say great things about that when I talked about my Make Toys version, and I thought the Make Toys was great. I think that the Octoclones ones are probably going to be pretty heavy and stout and solid. The Make Toys were a bit light, but they look okay on the shelf. But looking at this, they are also going forward. They're going to make more of these Wreck-Guard Junkions. They're also going, they have Triple Changer, Strato Tanker, which I don't know much about that character, but I know they did pretty good with that. And then they're also making their own version of this Prime, it's a Power Master Prime or something like that. And then they've got a whole lot of things going on for them. So KFC, not a bad company. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about my last two that are my worst two. Now, let's see if they match your worst two. OMNIGONIX was a company that came out with a Sun Streaker. So, their Sun Streaker was the tallest, which I like the taller figures. You could look at it and you knew it was supposed to be Sun Streaker. And he looked okay silhouette-wise, but was riddled with QC issues, fell apart, broke, the transformation wasn't as smooth. In fact, it wasn't really that bad of a figure if it was produced in a factory with one of the bigger competitors. Let's say this design was produced by Fans Toys, and they put some die cast in there, and they held it to the QC standards that they hold themselves to these days. And yes, Fans Toys has had a few issues and hiccups along the way, but if they hold it to their standards, for overall standards, the thing would have been built better. It would have been made better. The designer even came out and said that they didn't follow the specifications, and he had nothing to do with the production aspect of it, and that is why it had so many problems, but the design was not the flaw. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, and I know that when you get into production and you start into the production phase, you start to identify these flaws early on, you fix those so they don't come out. Or they could have come out with a second run that fixed all those flaws. Wheels falling off and stuff. People make fun of that neck that you can pull way up. I don't think that that's a big deal because it gives you some more articulation and opens a lot of stuff up. But I think this figure was a good idea and a good concept, and if they would have embraced the faux chest also, it would have been the best option. Until, of course, Daddy came home to roost, and what do we got here? We've got MP39 killing it. And lastly, we're going to talk about DACA Toys KRONOS. Now, KRONOS was a figure with a lot of controversy. And yes, DACA Toys was another company, just like OMNIGONIX, that only had one release. And KRONOS was a figure that it looks good on a shelf. You know that's Skyfire. You know that's the character. The white is bright white. He's got some panel lining detailing. He looks the part, and he fits the bill on your shelf. And if you got one that didn't have massive QC errors like some of these do, you got a good solid one, you could get a decent pose out of them. But the transformation was an ill-fated design. People complain about the parts forming with the backpack and all that stuff, but all the sliding mechanisms and all that made it A, unenjoyable to transform, and B, scary that you're going to break it because so many thin pieces. Lots of issues with it. And yes, nobody wants to break their toy. But let me tell you this, it came out at $160, which was a high price point at the time, which made me not want to buy it. I said, I'll wait. I mean, I'll get a re-release or whatever if it comes out. I don't think they did a re-release on this thing. Then the other thing is that on the secondary market, the ones that didn't get destroyed and broken during transformation were selling for $400. People were happily handing over $400. I had a multitude of friends that when I was looking to get into third party that had DACA Toys KRONOS at one point in time, I was saying, hey, can I get that in on a deal too? And they're like, oh no, I sold that. Someone wanted to give me $400, I got rid of it. Well, guess what? They were smart to do that and make that money off that DACA Toys KRONOS because the price when Phoenix came out plummeted to $60. Now, I think that first off, this company could not handle the customer service end of this. And since they've probably lost a ton of money on returns, or they just ghosted and can't show their head again. I also heard some rumors that design was originally a Fans Toys design, and I don't agree with that. I definitely do not believe that. There's just no way, even the early stuff of Fans Toys, there's no way because I just don't believe it. But anyway, those are my two. The reason DACA Toys isn't a bad company is because they gave us something that we needed that nobody else had. They tried. It was their first attempt. They had some issues. They kind of ran off. They ran off. But I have a DACA Toys KRONOS in mind until I get a Phoenix at the right price. And if I'll wait till I'm 75 to get a Phoenix at the right price, I'm not going to spend $500-600 on one of them things on secondary market. But anyway, let me know if we had the same two worst. Let me know what you think of this whole there is no bad third-party company. And, of course, like and subscribe. Titanium Hanger out.